guys are up higher, so it doesn't give you, you know.
How much height do you want out of it, you think?
The guy I talked to said that he jacked up the front of his tractor to find out that
where the contact spot is?
Where the you know.
And how high was the front of the tractor?
I don't know. Another guy told me just hack 6 inches off it.
You want it that far?
But I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know. I was also thinking if we need some sort of a, is there a way you could just kind of cut this, just a little shoe off, and put something that'll go up in there? You know, just cut a bunch off here.
Yeah.
And have like a sliding, you know, the same way we got this here.
Right.
That way I got
some adjustability in it. The only problem is it has to be strong. That's the other part of it. So the more you cut into it, it just gets a little weaker. All right, but
I mean, I can look into it online a little more.
Yeah, watch your chief. You can call me with a measurement where that should get. All right, so we're working on a friend's farmall, and he's I've done some videos on this one before a while ago. It had a real tired motor in it and some other issues. The motor was replaced with a rebuilt. And the engine seems like it runs really decent. He wants to try to see if he can get a little bit more RPMs out of the governor. And he was using it in some tractor pulls. And an issue with it is he wants to get some more weight on the ass end, and he also has some skids or skis, whatever you want to call them, on the backside here. See these guys? He had those made up. But what is happening is when he starts pulling, they are like already digging into the ground before the front wheels are even off the ground. So they are a bit too long in the tooth. They're used in a different way also. This one you could rotate when you're not pulling, and it becomes a step to help you get up into the tractor instead of climbing on the tire. So we're probably just going to knock about 2 inches out of those. Get them up a little higher. You still want to make them so that they will serve the purpose if you start really getting the tractor some height that they hit, and it stops the tractor from climbing over itself and flipping over. And we want to add some weight to the center of the rear of the axle. You can see he already has weights down there on that front bar that are doing the most of the trick, but we want to add some more right directly in line with the axle. So those are going to be, the battery's blinking, these guys right here. So we're going to go make a plate up and see how they make out as far as trying to stack them underneath. Alright, so I've been on here for a few minutes just kind of looking at what we got and what I have to work with. It seems like, setting up my pointer here, like these would probably be my best thing to go attached to. They are the beefiest thing kind of going across, and that's what those legs are pinned into. You pull that pin, you can pull it right out. So again, you can see that it's only roughly 2 inches, 2.5 inches from the ground without even pulling. As soon as he starts to go pull, they are automatically go touch. The front wheels aren't off the ground. It's just the ass end of the tractor is just squatting a little bit more. So I think probably for the fix, but the problem is if I go to shorten it, it becomes closer and closer to the center of the more forward on the tractor, so that the further out back here that you are, you have more of a chance of hitting the ground and supporting the tractor. If you make it too short, it's going to go bend up, but it's going to just keep going and miss it altogether. Did that make any sense on that? Anyway, so I figure we're going to knock probably maybe 2 inches out of here, and that'll bring that up about another 1.5, I'd say. And probably it's about right there. Maybe we'll even take a little more out. And then probably what we can do is re-drill right up here where the pin is. We'll slide these out a little further and repin it, so he can have like maybe a different choice of how far out he wants this to be. So if it's still too short, he could, if it's still too long and it's hitting the ground, he can opt to push it back in and put the pin back in further. And when it's rocking, it's further in, so it takes more distance for it to hit. And then we got these guys, which are the suitcase weights. Looking, camera's dark, huh? Anyway, so it's that guy right there. There's 4 of them. They're all roughly the same size, and we want to put them in the center line of where the axle is, where it's doing all the work. And they are 7.5, 6 1/4, and 5.5. So I have 24 inches between this rail and this rail. So I figure what we'll do is we'll take another piece of, I got some, I think I got 2x2. I'll weld a 2x2 beam going across. We'll do another 2x2 beam going across that the weights are fairly snug into, and we'll put a pan underneath it or angle underneath it for them to sit on, and then we'll have to figure out some kind of way to lock them into place. But that will, you know, they'll kind of like fall in the hole and be keyed in there, so they won't want to bounce around too bad. And it just makes it so so that way he can adjust his weights. If he just wants to use so much, he can put 2 on one side. If he can slide them from side to side wherever he needs more and less. He just wants the ability to adjust the weight around on the tractor, because different conditions, kind of like drag racing, you know, you keep playing with it until you see what improves it. So enough gabbing. Let me see if I can get some steel welded in here, and we'll start making something. Yeah, we're getting towards dusk, but that's kind of what I'm thinking of for the that cage section. One of the blocks was a 1/4 inch fatter, so I actually made about 8 inches in between. The smaller ones are 7.5, and one of them is about 7 3/4 in depth. So I just threw one of them up there to make sure that we weren't gonna have a problem all the way across. You could probably put them in and lift them and drop them into here. The rear end, the pumpkins on that side of it, you still have, you know, what, 4 inches in between, but I wouldn't want to try to lift that up out of over there. So that should work out pretty good. So there's angle on the bottom, and the V is facing up. I wanted to give like 4 contact points underneath the attached to the block. But if you ever use the tractor for anything off-roady in the muck or whatever, I didn't want the bottom edge of the angle to scoop up, so it's on a V both ways. So if he does hit something, it should just kind of roll off from it, if that shows. So it's on a point coming down. If you hit something, you should be able not to really get hung up on it, you know. Ideally, maybe a plate should have been underneath there, but I think the angle is actually kind of better because it's stronger. It won't want to sag, and it won't hold debris. It still has areas to breathe in between. So I'm gonna go weld that up permanency like, and then we will get the rest of the blocks on, and I need to get some kind of lock bar to hold them in place. Starting to get real dark, but I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight. I figure I'd just kind of show you. So I'm just gonna attack it like it's a big battery box, and we just took the angle and encapsulated the back corner on them. I couldn't go across because you see that one weight in the middle there? That's a different color. The handle's in a different spot. So if I went across the center, it would be flopping around. And I want to leave it so that it's kind of infinitely adjustable as far as him putting the weights around. So again, it's got the angle on it, and where the threaded rod is coming down and making contact with the red paint there, I'll clean that up and weld them into that position. So you pop the 2 wing nuts off, and you'll be able to slide the weights out of there, or slide them around. And if he finds he gets any kind of chatter or anything, he could still outline this stuff. He could put, like, you know, rubber or felt of some sort on there, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. This one is a little longer. It's a 1/4 inch longer too, so I kind of put it in the middle so that the bow of the angle will you know, taper to favor touching all of them, but it does touch all of them across the top. I know I'm rambling. All right, guys, video should keep going. I'm shutting down for tonight though. All right, so it's the next morning, and I already knocked out welding that sucker into place, and that worked out pretty good. They're in there very tight, and yet it's still adjustable for tweaking it around, and you get in and out of there fairly decent. So now we're moving on to more weights that we want to add on to it. We figured we'd go for the center on the trans. There's a mount right there. You see the bolt already got sticking out. And the idea we're gonna go with is dumbbell weights. So that's the bar. Figure we'll cut it off. Probably right here. Put that nut on the other side. We'll use that ring for them to stop against. And so I got to make a plate for those to attach to. And I've been knocking that out. So this is the largest I had. I would have rather have had something that was that same square, but I don't. So we're gonna go with this on an angle. And I'm gonna come back right now and trim the corners a little bit on this, but that's gonna go on there, and then we're gonna go weld the other piece right in the center, and we'll have that stick out. You could adjust and stack the weights, and then use the wing nut to clamp them down. And we may get another star nut like this, and you could back another one on top of it, so you can lock the two of them together. So as the tractor's running and vibrating, it doesn't want to work itself off. I actually might kick it up a little bit too, just a hair, just to try to hold it towards the have the load going a little bit down towards the center. I'm not sure of that yet though. So that's a plate mounted on there. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And I figure we'll go about dead center there, and that's how much you can get on there. I'm not sure how many weights you're going to be able to stack on there. 4, 5. I wouldn't probably recommend going much more than that anyway. Much more than 4, I would say, due to the fact that the center of the tractor does not have a frame going from front to rear. It's all just the cast of the transmission and the engine. And I've seen on rare occasions where they start bouncing the tractor and hammering it. They've actually split it right down, cracked the housing right down the center. So we'll do our best to avoid that. So how's that? That works pretty good. The one side that they used, that's actually a washer. It's not a welded on ring. So that can kind of get tapped off if he wants to slide the weights in further and stack more on there. Probably get 4 on there. But the only thing I had a concern on was watching out that the stuff's not going to be, whacking into the gauge and all that. So I kind of wanted to leave a little distance from there. But I have a feeling that maybe the bolts alone may do that. So again, I'll let him play with that. You can just tap that spacer off that's there, and the weights should be able to slide further in. Alright, so now I think I want to knock out all the welding stuff first. So now probably going to take these guys and we're going to shorten them up so that he has a little bit more room for there, and possibly re-drill those. And what we're talking about again is these guys, how low they are to the ground. You guesstimate without that pad there that there's not much room between when he starts pulling with the tractor, and the tractor kind of wants to squat down a little bit and dig in, or even just dig into the earth, that they start dragging. So I'm trying to come up with how much I think I should remove from it. I think I'm going to go with, we're going to knock 3 inches out of it and shorten that up. I don't want to go much more than that. I think that should do it. And if we leave it where you could pin it back further, you see it like it is now, you're definitely not going to flip that tractor over. So we might work with the locations of where the holes are being drilled. Let me get that on the bandsaw and we'll start doing some chopping. Beats a hacksaw. So I took the piece that I cut out, which is that 3-inch piece right there, and then sliced it in half. I figured I'd just use that for the 2 caps to help hold it, instead of just welding it in the center. That way I can kind of bridge the area and give it more support all the way around. So That should work out. So I'm gonna go fire up the weld. I'm gonna go buzz this one together, and then we'll go knock out number 2. Smoking. That's it. I want to see how it, because that's also, like I said, the foot pedal, the footstep to help get yourself up on the tractor in its alternate position. So I don't see any issues there. And we're gonna let that sucker cool off before I try putting it in the back. I'm gonna go knock out the second one, like I said. And number 2. Number 2. Did you feel the heat? And that's them all reinstalled. The pins are in. It's probably gonna have to get a different set because you can't flip the clasp before you flip the clasp around to get underneath it. So now you might have to do a pin and a key on the bottom of it. We'll leave that up to him. If I drilled them out here, you could probably use those over, but getting in there to go drill might not be the easiest thing because I have to elevate the tractor and all that kind of stuff. Time is money, you know? So, they're tucked up betterer. I think how far back they are still in the stock position should be pretty good for catching it if it wants to go over. I don't think it's going to be able to do that. Again, he's got his tire pressure. I think he's at 5 psi right now. And for pulling, you want them really soft. You want them to really dig in. That's it. You got weights on it. You got the bars re-lengthened, and then the weight added to the front. Next is the steering box. Seal is gone. Right there we want to address, see if we can get that out. That's pissing away. You can see how it's leaking out down below. And governor, we want to see if we can crank up the governor. This will probably be the end of this video right now though. I think we got enough film, enough time on this one. Good looking tractor. He's really cleaned it up a lot since when he first got it. And I'll leave the paint up to him to repaint that stuff. Alright guys, well, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, everybody, thanks for watching, comment, subscribing. I'm going for a motorcycle ride. Call it Lily for a reason.